I am working with watercolors today. I have my Sennelier small watercolor set, and I am going to take, I think, the French Vermilion. I'm going to go into this, lay a bunch of this out. I don't know if I'm going to mix colors or not. I think I'm going to keep it the same. Just that color. I don't know why I went into the pan with that. And what I'm going to do is lay out a wash. And when I'm laying out a wash, I'm going to start at the top and work my way down. Because then I'll get the most color out of that by working my way down. So I don't think you're going to be able to see this. Get my watercolor back over here. Because what happens is that watercolor travels down, so okay, I'm having a hard time doing this one-handed. Get this tucked under. Get some more color in here. I just kind of want a wash of color. And then what I'm going to do is I want to get this really saturated with water right now. So where's my water? Here we go. Oh, phooey. Hold on. Okay, sorry about that. I had to go to the kitchen and get a spoon. There's some water. And I have these dried coffee grounds in here. And I'm just going to dump these out. They're kind of clumped together, so okay, and I'm going to let that sit there and dry for a little bit. I'll be back. Okay, let's see what we've got. Scrape this off. It's all dried now. Ooh, I did a good job aging that, I think. Now, I needed to start a new work surface anyway, so I'm just dumping this onto my craft paper because I'm going to throw it away. But I love how that turned out. So what happened is the coffee grounds wound up just, you know, drying on there, so it gave it like this really aged look on it, with, you know, the brown, and it also kind of pitted it while the color was still wet. So I really like the way that turned out. And that was a technique I learned from Julie Fei-Fan Balzer. I just started her watercolor class, And I'll put a link down below. And I highly recommend, if you're interested in watercolors, taking that class, because for 15 bucks, it was definitely worth it. I got some really useful information from it. So yeah, I like that technique. I'll be using that again, that's for sure. Okay, so now I'm going to start on this new clean work surface here, because I'm always working on dirty craft paper. And then I'm going to take some of these portfolios, the crayon brand, these very inexpensive brand that I really like working with. And I'm going to do like a complementary color here. So I think I'm going to go with like this little blue-green. I'm going to go with a green color. And I think I'm going to go with this blue-green. I'm going to see how this looks. And I'm just going to smudge it in. See if I like it. I may just want to come back in with another watercolor instead. Kind of just fill up those little holes here. I really don't know where I'm going with this now. So I mainly did this because I wanted to try this technique out and I really like it. And I think I'm going to go back to the watercolors because... yeah, I'm not liking the portfolio with that, so let me see what I got. And I think what I'm going to do is, I have, now I was using the Sennelier watercolors earlier, and recently I bought just this really inexpensive palette, because the Senneliers are really expensive, but I got this really inexpensive tin from Joann.com when they had a sale on these. I think I only paid like $5 for this. And I think I'm just going to pull one of these watercolors out and had to go grab my brush. And I think I'm going to pick a green from this instead, and no, those aren't saturated enough. Yeah, I don't like that color either. Oh my! I have a conundrum now because I don't know what to do. So, yeah, I'll be back. I gotta figure this out. Oh, you know what? No, I don't. I know what I can do. I can use some of my gelatos here. So let me try to find a color. Oh, here we go. I guess I'm just gonna stick with that same color that I was planning on using. I'm gonna go in with like a green. Because I can wet this. I didn't even think about that. I can wet this and it'll act kind of like a watercolor. So let me try that. Just take my watered down brush. Wah! Nothing I'm doing is working out. I don't like this. This isn't exactly what I wanted to do. Yeah, this isn't what I wanted to do. Let me think about it. I gotta come back. Alright, I'll come back to that border. I have decided I'm going to use a Lynn Perella stamp right here in the center of this to make it the focal point of this page. So I am going to come in. I gotta find my Sepia VersaFine. Here we go. I'm going to use the Sepia VersaFine to stamp this up. I love Lynn Perella stamps. If you've seen some of my other videos, you already know that. I'm a huge fan of hers. Actually, there's a few Artist Series stamps that I really like. I've just placed an order with Stampington & Company for some more Artist Series stamps, and I'll probably do a haul video on those, so I'm going to start trying to order some of those each month. Whoa! So I can build up a collection. Alright, so we're going to have this like kind of high up, like it's up in the sky. I don't want to lose too much of that background texture with those coffee grounds. So I don't know how much covering up of this page I'm going to do. See, I just love that stamp. I just think it's the neatest stamp. Love it. Okay, now I'm going to come in with just a inexpensive acrylic paint, craft acrylic. It's the Russet Color by Americana. And I'm just going to finger paint around the edges here. I decided to just get away from the green altogether. So it's kind of messy. And I'm definitely being messy about it. I've already messed up my clean craft paper work area here. I'm just going to frame this out just to cover the mess I made. With those green mediums I was trying to use with this. Okay, now I'm going to let that dry naturally while I try to think of the next step I want to take with this. So I will be back. Okay, I'm going to take this Donna Downey stamp and some Versamark and randomly go around my page here and spread some embossing powder. This is just a Stampendous. Embossing powder. So I am going to do that all the way around this page and come back. Okay, oh well, I guess I'll show you what that looked like. So I finished that up around the edge. Now what I'm doing is I've taken a piece of acetate. This is from some kind of packaging that came with you know, like a clean mount stamp or something. And I hold on to all that to use, you know, eventually I'll use it up because I like to repurpose. But anyway, I have my felt here and some alcohol inks. I've got this lettuce. I have no idea what color this is because it's all in some other language, and there is no color noted on here. And also some of the gold mixative. And what I'm going to do is use this Tim Holtz Alterations Movers and Shapers die in the little butterfly. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to color this up with the alcohol inks and then cut some butterflies out of it to throw on the page here. And then I'm going to find a quote to put on here. So, yeah, that's where I'm going to start right here is by I'm going to mix the gold up first before I start spreading these colors. And I don't know if I'm going to need the blending solution or not, but I do have the alcohol blending solution just in case. And I'm going to start with this lettuce color. And then I'm going to dab just a little bit of blue. And then a little bit of that gold mixative. Oops, that may be too much. And I'm going to see what this looks like first. Yeah, I'm not going to need the fixative, so. I don't know how many butterflies I'm going to cut out, so. Ugh, nails. Trying to figure out if I want to go in with just a little bit more. Of that gold mixative. Yeah. Yep, that's what I wanted to do. I am going to let that dry, give it a minute to dry, then I'm going to cut it out with my Big Shot, Sizzix Big Shot, and then I will be back. I did decide to take a small script stamp, and this underside is where the alcohol ink is, so I've turned it over, and on the unpainted side I'm taking just this small script stamp, and before I cut these butterflies out I decided to have some script on it. So I'm using black StazOn so that it won't smear. And I'm just gonna continue on down the, because again I don't know how many of these I'm gonna plan on cutting out. So I just wanted to show you that before I come back and decide what to do with these butterflies. Okay, I have some wire, some copper wire out that I am using to wrap the body. This is actually how my butterfly came out after I cut it in with that Sizzix die. And then what I did is I took some of this copper wire, and I've already done the two just to save time for this recording, and I wire wrapped the little body of the butterfly so that it had some little antennae coming out. And so this is, you know, all I did. I just pulled, you know, a piece of this out, cut it. Okay, I'm trying to do this standing up. I can't really see. And I'm just flattening this out just so it'll be a little bit easier to work with. And I'm just grabbing this, starting in the back, kind of pulling that out so there's, you know, a length there for the first part of his antenna. And then I'm just going around the little body here and wrapping around the center part of that body. And sorry, I got to bring it up to my head so you're not going to be able to see this, but and then when I come back up, I'm going to cut a little bit of this off. I'm grabbing these wires right here, pliers right here, and then just tucking it underneath. I don't know if you can see this. This is really hard to do to record, but I'm just tucking it underneath to lock it in place. If I can get it. Like so. And then I want to keep it kind of bendy. I don't want these antennae to be totally straight. So I am taking these and then just kind of, you know, doing a little bit of manipulating the wire so that it's not totally straight. Kind of crinkling it up a little bit. And I need to cut some of this off actually. I'm going to sit down. I'm trying to do this standing up. And I'm just, you know, going to manipulate this wire so that I'm going to cut it down a little bit more. There we go. Just so some antenna is coming out, but okay, there we go. And then I'll put that, like, you know, right there. I want him to go like that. Okay. And then I'm just going to use, what am I going to use? I think I'm going to use this Helmar Quick Dry, the Helmar 450. Because it dries clear, so. I'm just going to come right here in the center. Okay, got glue strings everywhere. And I'm going to stick it right there. May have used a little bit too much glue. Gotta sit there and hold it for a second, because even though it's quick dry, you do have to hold it when you've got something dimensional. And with the wire, so. Alright. Do the same thing over here. Hold it down. Oops. This is where I need the fast forward speed up motion on my software. I've got a really old computer, so yeah, the Windows Movie Maker that's with my computer, it doesn't do very well with the speed up process. Because it also doubles the speed of your talking too, so. Alright, a little bit of my glue is showing, but I don't really care. Just trying to get it to stick. Phooey! I probably should have had my heat gun going. I could have just used my... No, I couldn't have used my heat gun because this is plastic. It would have melted. So I'm glad I didn't do that. Alright. Now... Ugh. Got glue everywhere. Let me just make sure those really aren't down very good. Come on. Okay. Now, to bring back some of the green that's in here, what I'm going to do is take some of the Silk's acrylic glaze. I'm actually just going to take it from the top. Maybe not. Maybe not. That was a little dry. So all I'm trying to do is bring a little bit of this green color from the butterflies in here. And because the silks are translucent, you'll still be able to see, well, I thought you were going to be able to see the writing underneath. but probably because it's that sepia, it's not quite as dark. So I got to go really light-handed with it. So that you can still read the title there that says Believe. I may need to bring a baby wipe in there, get some of that up. Because again, it's covering up a little bit more. That title than what I wanted it to do. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same thing down here. With this little script. And the same thing. I'm going to want to lift some of that up. Okay. That's it for that one. Ugh. Sorry, I dropped my lid. Okay. And now, really all that's left is for me to put a title on this. So I have a Donna Downey quote from one of her stamp quote sets. And again, I'm going to go in with the sepia ink right here. Now I've got to figure out, I don't know if I want to do it just right under the center, kind of offset it. I think I'm going to offset it. Offset it where though? Maybe right here. Okay, so the title, you know, here has Believe. So I picked a quote that had that in the words. This says, always believe something wonderful is about to happen. So the only thing I'm going to do is, well, clean my stamp. And then I think I want to have just a little bit of an outline on that quote. And I think I'm going to come in with, I first thought I would just use a pen and do some pen work, but now I think I'm just going to kind of do some doodling with the scribbles. So this is Shamrock Green because I thought it closely matched this, just to keep that green in. And oh, this isn't coming out. I'm kind of, oh, great. I just made a mess with that. Oh my gosh. Hello. Okay, now I'm just gonna do some kind of like just doodling. you know, kind of be a little messy about it, obviously. And I'm just going to put my date tag there, and this is going to be it. So that is my page. I'll see you guys later.